Hi, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of New Media Lab. Today, we have Kat and Paul from the YouTube channel Comic Trips. As somebody exploring new media, I find that each of the different facets, whether it's YouTube, podcasting, blogging, all have a lot in common, and we can really learn a lot from each other. Kat and Paul share a lot of really great ideas and really offered some wonderful insights that helped me framework what I'm doing as I'm trying to explore having a YouTube channel and with what I do with the podcasting network. If you have any questions or comments for me or for Kat and Paul, please send an email to southgatemediagroup@gmail.com and I will be sure to forward it on and we will address it in the future. So for now, here they are. Kat, Paul, thank you guys so much for being here on the New Media Lab. I am so excited to have you guys as guests.
We're excited to be here.
Yeah, it was so cool. I met you guys in Chicago at, was it Wizard World or C2E2?
Wizard World.
Wizard World, yeah. And I fell in love with you guys. I fell in love with your show, the whole thing. Let's hear about it. I want you to tell the audience about Comic Trips.
Well, Comic Trips started before a camera even turned on. For our first date, Paul and I went to an arcade and we played GoldenEye for 3 hours.
A nice first date.
On our first date, yeah. And then we kind of just started adventuring for toys and stuff just to kind of, we linked up and bonded over that, so why not? We took a trip to Orlando in January of last year to go to Universal Studios, and that was fun in itself. And then Paul's like, so there's this store called Tate's. I Google it, it's about 2.5 hours away. So what's the logical thing to do? Rent a car from Universal Studios and drive, 5 hours round trip to the Miami area. And I guess it kind of started when we both looked at each other and we're like, all right, we've just driven about 400 miles and we didn't fight. And we were looking for toys. We should turn a camera on and see what happens.
So the next time we took a trip, we turned on our iPhones and
we went to a local comic book show at a smaller hotel.
Yeah, it was like, one of those like Holiday Inn Express ballrooms type places, and it's run by a local guy. And lo and behold, Comic Trips was technically born. We had thought of a bunch of different names. Kat came up with the name Comic Trips, and for like, if you watch the first episode, we're just kind of, we
have
don't know
no idea what we're doing.
No idea what we're doing. And you should have seen how much footage we had of us just kind of sitting there, not doing anything. So over time, it became fun. We put it out there. People enjoyed it. And here we are now. We've driven thousands of miles. We've done 25 episodes. Next Monday will be 26.
Yeah.
And we're in our third season right now, and it's only 10 months old, 11 months old now. So
yeah, it started in February. January.
It's pretty crazy. And, we don't have a massive following. We're about to close in on 800 subscribers on our YouTube channel. But what I like about our following is that
it's a family.
It's a family. It's a very tight-knit base. All the same people are always commenting, checking in. If we post on our Facebook or our Instagram or on the YouTube page, it's always the same network of humans that are always interacting with us. And
humans too, not like
we don't get
ones.
We don't get any negative comments.
No.
We don't get any trolls. It's very weird. And delusions of grandeur, hoping it stays that way because it's pretty awesome how supportive everybody is.
Yeah, actually from our perspective, we've been doing it for 3 years, and I would say the same is true with us. Like, you start to know your audience.
Yeah.
And you start to think of them, like, if you run into one, have you guys run into one yet, like just in the wild?
Yes.
Is that like the greatest thing ever?
It's weird, but it is also like pretty humbling that somebody's like, hey, I take the time out of my day to watch your show on YouTube.
We're still not sure how to really act when it happens. We're like, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? Just be yourselves, because like when I met you guys, you were so personable and so fun to talk to that, it can be a little bit weird when the super fan walks up, but just be yourselves and you'll get through it fine.
We we enjoy it, and we're appreciative that anyone cares. In a digital world of oversaturation and things coming at you 100 miles an hour from all directions, the fact that people actually start their Monday mornings with us and wake up with us, they kind of start their week by watching our show. It blows my mind. And granted, it's not a ton of people. Our videos maybe get 1,000 views in the first 3 weeks that they're up, but it's still cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
No, that's very cool. Well, okay, let's talk about, because you guys are a YouTube show. I have some questions about that. Now, first of all, you said you turned the camera on, you did this. Did you immediately go, we're going to make this a YouTube show, or did you think, let's do this and play around?
It was going to be a blog at first. It was
Yeah.
going to be a just a small website where you went to if you wanted to find, local comic book shops and stuff. We were going to, show a few pictures
Review
and
it.
we were going to review it. I was going to write something up and, that's...
Had you blogged before?
I have a migraine blog, and
What?
it does pretty well. Yeah, I suffer from chronic migraine, and I just started a blog to kind of vent, and I had no idea that people were feeling the same way I was feeling. I thought I was alone, so I was like, well, that gets good traction, so let's turn Comic Trips into a blog.
Interesting.
And then we realized, well, the whole point of Paul and I is we're very personable, like I guess you said, and we have larger than life personalities, so it made better sense to do it, vlogging style rather than writing it out, because I didn't feel like our actual personalities would have portrayed as well as they do on YouTube.
Yeah, because what we see is honestly what you get. We don't really.
Yeah, this is how we are with each other when the camera's off.
Yeah, we're the same exact way behind closed doors as we are in front of the camera. And it's just, a lot of people just tell us, they don't even really collect comic books or toys, but they
watch it for us.
Right, they relate to our personalities and the energy, which is it kind of transcends what the channel is trying to do.
Yeah, actually, I would say everything you said is really accurate, and I think it's also a key to success with vlogging, with blogging, with podcasting. Get your personality, but it can't be fake. The listener, the viewer can spot it a mile away.
Oh, yeah.
And with you guys, what I saw there is what I see when I watch the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're glad it translates over because,
sometimes, you can lose that.
It's a fickle world, so.
Yeah. So, okay, so you start the YouTube channel, you start up Comic Trips. There a lot of people understand. Yeah, there's things you got to get logos, you got to do all that kind of stuff. And if you're anything like me, I just jumped in and I'm like, you know what? I don't care if it looks like duct tape and markers. Let's put it up and see what happens. You guys were filming on like an iPhone, right?
Correct.
That's what we first started on, and we didn't even have a mount in the car. We just propped it up on some garbage I could find on the floor.
And we're still not all that much better at it. We don't have a very good rig for the car. We're still, we were learning as it went. I made the logo for Comic Trips.
Everything's all in-house.
Everything is in-house.
Anything.
We started editing on iMovie. Then after a while, I kind of wanted to do more cool stuff, and iMovie had its limits. So I just dove in and learned Final Cut as it was going. So
Final Cut is what you're using at this point. How long did you go on iMovie?
The entire first season.
Yeah.
Right around the season 2 kickoff at Wizard World Philadelphia. It was like the last episode of season 1, first episode of season 2. We really started diving in. You could tell.
Yeah.
You could kind of tell by the type of editing that we did, the transitions, even some of the graphic effects and things like that. We really sort of kicked it up, but it's all a learning process.
Yeah, and then we were talking to one of our friends at the comic book shop at the mall, and he was talking about this camera that he had got and how it was an open box special at Best Buy, and there's actually a Best Buy right around the corner from the mall. So Paul and our ears and our eyes lit up, and we were like, well, there's a Best Buy right around the corner. So we went to Best Buy, and we're telling the woman, kind of what our requirements are for a camera. And she's like, hold on, I'll be right back. She pulls out a camera from under the counter, in the depths.
Which is perfect for you guys.
What?
I said that's perfect for you guys. She had to dig for it.
She had to dig for it, exactly. She pulls out this camera that's retailing at $700, but since it was last year's floor model, it was only $300, and it met all of our requirements. And it was almost like we kind of have to get this because our iMovies, our iPhones just aren't cutting it anymore, and it's shaky. And so we bought this camera, and we kind of we've been stepping up little bit by little bit here and there.
Yeah. No. What kind of camera is it? Let's hear that. Well, this is the one that was stolen, right?
Right. This was the one that was stolen. That original one. That was a Sony Handycam. It was a higher end one with a floating lens inside the casing and everything.
It had a projector screen on it.
Right. It had a projector screen on the outside flap. But also, we haven't really put it out there all that much on our social media, but we actually had someone who it looks like they may have found the camera that was stolen.
What?
it's a mutual friend's ex, and their boyfriend now is a realtor in the old town that we used to live in. That boyfriend who had no idea who we were, went to show our old house and found a camera sitting on the porch covered in dirt and grass. This was, a couple months after it had gotten stolen. And, she said that when he brought it home, she opened it up and she saw me and Kat on there. She said, I know those people. So she messaged me on Facebook, and we're waiting to get the camera back. We just haven't been able to meet up with the person. So hopefully we might be able to
salvage those webisodes.
Salvage the webisodes, have some lost footage.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, Raiders of the Lost Footage or something like that.
Right. You'll have to do a whole thing chasing with a ball chasing you down as you're running out with it.
Yeah.
So, okay. I have another question then. You talked about learning Final Cut. Do either of you have a background in video?
No. Well, Paul, yes and no.
Yeah, in high school, I actually majored in photography, if you want to call that in high school majoring. My main focus was media classes, so video, reel-to-reel VHS editing and photography and things like that. I used to do band photography at small local concerts and things like that. But, I worked for Apple for nearly 3 years, and when you're working for Apple, you kind of have to know the program, you kind of don't really have a choice but to sort of learn all of at least the outside ropes of different things in the business. I was a genius for Apple, and tech support and also media teaching and things like that. So I did know Apple components of things, but like if you were to put me in front of, say, Adobe Premiere or, something like that, I wouldn't really know what I was doing, Other than that, I have some graphic design experience where I design advertisements and stuff like that,
Sure. Well, it sounds like everything led to this point, and that's another thing that we found with a lot of people that are in new media, especially, around here. When we first started ours, we started looking at our life experiences, and everything, as you started looking at it, kind of led to this point. And in your case, it sounds like that too. Like it kind of, even just you guys meeting led to the point that comic trips would start.
Yeah, it was, it was, I don't want to say by happenstance, but it seems like the universe kind of brought us together, and we figured out such a mutual passion for all this sort of stuff.
I think it was Goldeneye. I'd like to say it was Goldeneye that brought you together.
Too.
Yeah. No, she didn't win. She never wins unless I turn up.
I won.
Unless I give her +10 and I take -10, she cannot beat me in any video game.
Nope, I won.
Don't let her fool you.
You know what? I'm not getting in the middle of that one. So, okay, with YouTube. So you start this YouTube channel. You don't have any experience with it. This is something that I personally am experiencing because we've built up this network of podcasts. Then we decided, well, we need a YouTube presence. And it's daunting. You can just throw something up there and get 20 views. But
Right.
You're at a point you're getting like 1,000. What did you do? How did you learn YouTube? Did you take like any classes? Did you find any resources? Or is it just, you're just stumbling your way through it?
Well, I had put up a few videos here and there of like doing makeup and how to, handle migraines. So like I had a very limited knowledge on YouTube, but I do know that you kind of have to put on a catchy title and definitely like utilize using tags.
Yeah, we haven't really made it public yet. However, we signed an agreement with a company called Screenwave Media. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
No, I haven't heard of them.
They handle like angry video game nerd, the game chasers and stuff like that. They're almost like a YouTube channel brokering company.
Sure.
They help you optimize your channel. They help you get your Google AdSense in line and stuff like that. And, for us, it was all just stumbling. I own a small social media marketing company that helps a lot of local businesses in the Atlantic City area. So I know the ins and outs of social media, but, not YouTube. Kat was familiar with people on YouTube. Kat subscribed to people, but I had no idea about the subscriber thing, about this, about that. I would just, I was a casual YouTube video watcher, but Kat was more experienced with YouTube. Kat also did makeup tutorials on her channel and stuff like that, aside from her, migraine support community blog. So she had more experience in the YouTube, but I have, a decent amount of experience with all other social media. So
it's kind of he's helping me and I'm
right.
helping him.
Yeah, we're kind of helping. She knew stuff that I didn't know and I knew stuff that she didn't know. So in between that, we kind of, before Comic Trips came out, I think we did something like maybe like a 3-week or a month-long sort of promotion skit where we had a couple trailers come out about the premise of the show through our personal social networks, which led people to Comic Trips. And then when, the first episode aired, people liked it. They thought it was cute. They wanted to see more, and we already started getting feedback. So it was all, learn as you go in the trenches. All right, well, we did this wrong. This video only got this many views, or this video got this many downvotes. It's all, you take every video as it comes, the good with the bad, and that's just the way that we're still learning with it. Now, we had an optimization call with Screenwave about, all right, hey, this is what some successful YouTube channels do. This is what you're doing right. This is what you're doing wrong. And we kind of take that advice and try and tweak things.
Cool. And that has been beneficial, I take it.
It has so far. I mean, again, it's only been a couple weeks.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's literally only been a couple weeks, so we're barely even starting to see the change in it. But, we're coming up on 800 subscribers, 30,000 channel views. It's a small uptick going here and there.
Yeah, right. Well, there is a tipping point.
Yes.
that I've talked to a number of people that have said, like even with like Tumblr. I remember talking to somebody about Tumblr, and they said, once you cross 1,000 followers, then it's just like the floodgates open.
That's honestly what we've been told about YouTube. They said that, people can have millions, people can have hundreds of thousands, but cracking that first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
It's 1,000 and then it goes to 10,000.
Right. And it's difficult, but once you do, it just flows.
So in the thing that I've noticed is that out of all social networks, gaining followers on Twitter, Instagram, likes on Facebook, and subscribers on YouTube, the hardest to get by far is subscribers on YouTube.
Interesting.
We have 3,500 fans on Facebook, a little over 1,000 subscribers, or a little over 1,000 followers on Instagram, but we only have 800 subscribers on YouTube.
Now, do you find that as somebody with a YouTube channel, that having all the different social media is critical? Because each one of them does take effort.
Right. Each one of them takes effort. And with the small company that I run, albeit it is a company regardless, but it's a small company, different demographics of people use different social networks. There are some people who swear off Twitter. There are some people who do not have a Facebook, like Kat. Kat does not have a personal Facebook page. I do, but Kat has a Twitter and Instagram. I have all the above. So, each network has its own sort of saturation points where you can tap into conversations and sort of get that viral aspect of it. It's just, you have to find the right demographics. You have to be willing to interact with people.
Yes.
I'm a strong believer that you can't just go on Instagram, follow 1,000 people and comment on every picture that says, hey, follow me back. This is a great,
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's a terrible idea. And the worst thing that you can do is when you start going around on YouTube commenting on other videos, hey, this is a great video, you should check out mine. That's a number one no-no.
That's like the worst thing to do.
Right.
It's annoying.
So we've actually started adjusting, as well, the way we do things. I belong, the Comic Trips Gmail account belongs to a Marvel Comics group that has 28,000 members in it. And instead of posting the episodes, I post pictures of stuff that we find related to Marvel. I'll say, hey, we found this here at blah, 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 and put it in our most recent episode.
So hopefully somebody will click it. If not, it's okay, but
right.
We put it out there.
And do you put links to that episode when you do that?
Sometimes. It depends on the network.
Okay.
But a lot of times we try to do that indirect lead back. So, what's this Comic Trips page that found this, right, that just found this comic book? Let me see what that is. And we hope that by way of, navigation, they find their way to our YouTube channel. And it's actually worked pretty well for us.
Now, Kat, you mentioned tagging on YouTube. Tagging is the whole game on YouTube, from what I understand.
Yeah.
How do you figure out, now you've got a show where you're finding toys, you're finding comics, you've got, multiple subjects you're dealing with. How do you figure out what tags to tag with?
Well, we kind of just take a look at our haul and the stuff that we have, what kind of content we have in that particular video. So let's say we found a Deadpool comic. I'll hashtag Marvel and I'll tag Deadpool just because those two things are included in the video. So let's say I found like a Rob Zombie toy. I might tag Rob Zombie. I might tag the movies that he's made. Because if anybody is typing those particular words into the search bar, I'm hopeful that our video
might pop up.
Yeah, so I'll just tag, but I won't tag things that aren't in the video, because I also don't want to annoy people who may have stumbled across our video because they're looking for a particular thing. They watch the whole video and then they don't see what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So I'll stay away from that, but I'll definitely utilize tagging every aspect that we've covered in the video.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you put them in the tag section, because on YouTube, you have the section where you can put your tags in.
Yeah.
Do you also put like hashtags in the description?
No, we don't.
Not with YouTube. The way YouTube aggregates that sort of thing is they'll work off of keywords in the YouTube description
and in the title.
So then you put they say that to attract the audience, you put the title of your video, and then you take that title of your video and also put it in the description, and then that how there's that little bit of space that you can actually see what the video is about, but without hitting show more.
Right.
They use that 2 to 3 sentences very wisely, describe something and make it catchy, and then after that, that's when you put all your
descriptions and your links and all the other stuff.
Correct.
Yeah, because this is the hardest nut to crack, and I know from our YouTube channel, it makes no rhyme or reason. We have one episode of something that has done thousands, right, and then the next episode, tagged the exact same way, has done 30.
Yeah, we've stumbled across that too, and we're always looking at it like, well, what did we do wrong? And we also understand that some people don't watch the webisodes as soon as they come out. They'll wait a few weeks and then they'll binge watch.
Yeah, we have bingers.
Yes.
So we'll see a spike in, views, or a spike in someone saying, I've just watched all 5 of the episodes, because they probably didn't watch it on Monday. They probably waited, or they got busy and they watch it in a binge style setting like that.
So how important is scheduling for you guys?
It's pretty important. We definitely make sure that our videos come out on Monday. We've only had 1 or 2 instances where we didn't put out a video on Monday, but we let everyone know, hey, we're not going to have a video on Monday, but here's something,
right,
in the meantime.
That was last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, we got really busy with a convention.
Yeah, we help run an event out here called Bazaar AC. It's kind of like a horror convention, but it's more pop culture and experience themed, not just here's this guy from this horror movie. So we worked that entire weekend, and we were just absolutely beat. And our Sunday nights are usually up watching Comic Book Men at midnight, and hopefully I can get to bed by 2 a.m. after finishing the episode. And then I usually just hit upload right before I go to bed, so that way it's ready for the early morning. And like I said, we have a lot of people who just start their weeks with us.
Now, do you have a strategy that you use to promote it? Do you tweet every day of the week? Do you tweet just when it comes out? Do you what's kind of the strategy? Do you use an email list?
So what we do is we have that Monday morning tweet that says, hey, hey, comic trippers, here's your Monday fun. And then what we do is we try to not just advertise. And I think that's where we've gotten some success, is where we don't just advertise our episodes. We show cool stuff that we had that possibly leads back to it. We post pictures and then tag relevant accounts in hopes to get some retweets and things like that. We have a certain model, and the one thing that we know that we need to work on is that when an episode comes out on Monday, after that following Monday, a lot of times we tend to stop talking about that previous episode and only concentrate on the newest one.
Oh, interesting.
You know what I mean? We found a pattern that we get in the habit of, all right, here's episode 23. Let's talk about this for the next week. And then after, when episode 24 comes out, we kind of just completely negate talking about that previous one. So that's something that we're also working on.
You know what? I'll tell you something that we found, because of the volume of shows that we have. We have 80 plus shows on our network, and it's real easy to fall into that of just jumping into the next episode and forgetting the past. Every once in a while, I'll go back and start promoting an old episode, or we'll say October, every day we're going to post something of old content. And I got to say, it's a smart idea. For you guys, if people haven't watched the first season of Comic Trips, right, going back and saying every day we're going to promote a different episode, it really has a huge effect. Because you're reaching new audience. The old audience is going to go, yeah, I've seen this. But they don't care. It's not like you turn them off,
right.
So lighting is a big thing with YouTube. That's something we've struggled with. Do you guys mess with lighting, or is it just natural light that you're working with?
We actually had a discussion about that last night. We really need to get our lighting situation in check because, I mean, you see that the openings and the closings of our videos are usually in the car. We film it during the morning, which the lighting is good, but we also have some episodes where we, do the haul in our house or, outside. We've even done a couple of them. So we don't have a good lighting setup in our house. We were just talking about it last night. We're saying that, once we actually get the chance to, and we can get a little bit of money into it, we're going to have proper lighting set up for, doing our end videos and our end hauls and stuff like that. Like if you take a look at the one video that we did, the drunk toy review video of the Millennium Falcon Air Hog, it was a cool video, but the lighting and the sound in it is terrible. And that's kind of when we recognized, all right, yeah, we need to try and be a little bit more legit if we want to act like we're legit.
Are you pulling the sound right off of your camera?
Yeah, we're pulling the sound directly off the camera. So, there are certain audio editing tools and, vocal boosting tools within Final Cut, but we realize that we need to get like a shotgun mic or a lavalier type microphone. That's something that we have recognized. But, again, the past couple months, pretty much since season 2 started, we've been nonstop with, spending to renovate a new home and all that. So,
right. That takes a little time and effort.
We're trying to appropriate the funds to do some production upgrades. We did it with the camera, which helps. And we've actually found in some situations filming with the iPhone has better sound than with some of these cameras.
Yeah, I actually just shot something with an iPad, and I had my MP3 recorder that I use for everything. And believe it or not, on the video, the audio from the iPad sounded better.
Yeah. So
I was shocked.
We're struggling with that. We want to get another camera mount. We want to get a proper lighting setup for, the studio that we're going to end up setting up. And, it's cool because no one's really complained about it yet. We had 1 or 2 people in one of the early episodes with our iPhone say, hey, that video is pretty shaky. You should get this or you should get that. But it doesn't seem like it's been a make or break for anyone yet. But that's something that we have to keep in mind if we're going to keep going with this, is to upgrade our production as much as possible.
Do you find that there are advertisers or anybody sniffing around? Have you had any contact for any of that?
You mean like sponsors?
Yeah, sponsors, advertisers, people that want to get involved with you in various ways.
We just had a company send us some comic book frames. They were like frames and wall mounts, and he wanted us to review the product. So last night we actually just filmed a pretty in-depth and very honest review on them. And we don't mind doing that, but I've got very if I'm going to review a product, I'm not just going to review it and say it's good for the money.
Right.
If I want my users to definitely get a product that's worth their time and their money. So if we're ever sent a product that isn't up to standards, I will just simply turn down the review and be like, we reviewed it and, we're just not going to, we're just not going to post it. Or if I already know it's a bad product, be like, we're just not interested at this time, because I definitely want people to get quality products. But yeah, we had a guy send us some stuff.
It's from a company called Comic Mount. It's basically like a 2-piece, extremely minimal, clear plastic frame stand type deal for comic books and toys and magazines and vinyl. So we're going to be launching a new part of our channel called Cool New Stuff, where if we're out and we find gadgets or someone wants us to review their product, we'll add those. And those will be sporadic through the channel, unlike the webisodes that are Friday or Mondays every day. We'll have the sporadic drunk toy review and then the product reviews here and there.
Now, how long is a season? You said you're in your 3rd season. How many episodes do you consider a season? About
10. We're, that's not set though. Season 3 might end up being 15 webisodes. We kind of when we get towards the end, towards episode 8 or 9 of a season, we talk about it and be like, hey, do we have time and the money to continue, or do we want to take a month off?
And is that how long a season lasts? You do, say, 10 episodes or 15 episodes, and then you take a month, and then you're back for the next season?
Yeah, it's usually a month, maybe 6 weeks. But every season so far has been 10 episodes.
Right, and what we try to do is that once a season ends, it's not like we disappear.
Oh, no, we keep it going.
We still do, giveaway videos. We do cool little shorts and previews and stuff like that. And what that little break in between seasons actually lets us do is it lets us kind of bulk up on some footage to get ahead a couple weeks. Because most of the time when we're filming stuff, if we film something on a weekend, and not that Monday, but the episode is out that following Monday after that. So, 8 to 10 days from when we film an entire episode to when it has to be edited, in between both of us working all of our jobs that we have. It's a very tight timeline, which hopefully someday we'll...
You know who puts out an episode every week and has been doing it for years? South Park. If they can do it, we can do it.
Yeah, and that's animation, even though it's simple animation. That's animation. It's crazy.
Right, and also South Park makes money off of what they do. So they don't have
Good
to do
point, Paul.
Yeah, they don't have to do anything but South Park, and we have to do all of our jobs that we have, plus this.
Right. So, Kat, what were you going to say?
I said we'll get there one day.
Yes, you will. I'm confident. So, okay, we're coming towards the end, but I have a couple more things. First of all, what are the aspirations for the show? Is it the show? Is it the channel? What is it? What are the aspirations?
Well, I've always, my mom's always said that, she knew I was going to grow up to kind of just be a globetrotter. I always wanted to travel and see crazy places and go exploring. So, if the YouTube per se doesn't pick up, I definitely like the opportunity to take something like this and travel with it, whether it's for YouTube or, maybe it's for AMC or the History Channel. I don't know. I definitely want to go.
We both love traveling a lot, and it is such a big world.
And it's so expensive to do it. So my aspirations would be where we got to the point where somebody said, okay, this is the investors, this is your budget, here's a company vehicle or whatever. Go bulk up on footage, come back, and we'll edit it. That would be my aspirations for sure. Not even necessarily getting paid millions and millions of dollars. I just want to go and explore.
Cool. With the show, do you expect the YouTube channel to grow and have other shows under its umbrella, or is it no, Comic Trips is what it is, and then we're going to add maybe the cool gadgets thing, but that's really what we want to do with it?
I think Comic Trips is going to be what it is. We'll add cute little segments here and there. I'm definitely, I take tips and pointers from other YouTubers that I watch, like Jenna Marbles or Graveyard Girl, who that is their brand. And under their channel, they have segments. So I think that's kind of where we're going to stick. Comic Trips will be Comic Trips, and, we'll have little things here and there.
Yeah, cool. And, okay, last big question. What advice would you give for somebody who's wanting to start a YouTube channel? And I want to framework this real quickly. Everything we do on this show, we find that it crosses over. Whether you have a YouTube channel, a blog, a podcast, whatever it is, there's information within it. So don't worry about making it too narrow. Don't worry about making it too broad. What advice would you have for somebody who wants to get into new media?
Well, I guess I'll start and then Paul can finish. Mine's not a business side of it. Mine's more of a personal side of it. Mine would be always be yourself. Don't be afraid to, put yourself out there and be genuine. You may get a few people that are trolls, but for every one troll, there's probably 100 people out there who are going to support you. Don't take internet words to heart. Just, if you have a passion and you want to show somebody something or, showcase a talent or something, just do it. Be unique, put yourself out there, and always just be yourself and stick true to your own values and morals.
Excellent. All right, Paul, you're up. Final swing.
It's to piggyback on what Kat said, the best thing that you can do is almost in a sense, if you take a look at the way professional wrestlers do it, a lot of professional wrestlers' personas are just kind of extensions of themselves, and a lot of people get camera shy and you have to dig down. And the worst thing that you can do, number one, is be reserved or try too hard to make a persona. Just be your natural self. Just, remember that there are people out there that love exactly what you love. And
they'll find it.
Right. And whatever you do not film a video directly under an overhead light with no other light and just stare into the camera and say, hey guys, this is my comic book thing that I got this week. And I've watched so many YouTube videos that are just long, boring, drawn out.
Yeah.
And it's guys talking and holding up comic books, talking for half an hour about nothing,
Yeah, you gotta look at what other videos are doing and try to outdo it.
Yeah. It's create your own content off of what succeeds. It's not about copying. It's all right, well, I see this YouTube channel does pretty well. How can we relate this to our own? It's cool to create your own brand, but you have to understand in 2015,
everybody has a YouTube channel. Got to be unique.
It's very hard to find a brand new idea. So why not take an existing idea that's pretty good, that's pretty, cool, put your unique touch on it and just kind of roll with it. Kat has a very outgoing, bubbly personality, and I'm very loud, I'm very obnoxious, but in the YouTube channel, I kind of come off as like the quiet, like, ugh, what the hell is going on? Just because when Kat gets over bubbly, it kind of, it takes me over, and then we mess with each other back and forth. So, oftentimes on the YouTube channel, I almost come off as a straight face when in life I'm really not. But it's just how we interact when we interact, because Kat just likes to mess with me.
Yeah, very good. Well, guys, thank you so much for being on New Media Lab. Give your social media, tell people where they can subscribe, and we'll also put it in the show notes for this too.
Okay, well, you guys can subscribe at www.youtube.com/comictrips.
And on every single social network, we are at Comic Trips. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm actually considering setting us up a Tumblr blog to post some pictures and things like that to
we're
supplement
on Periscope too.
Yeah, we do have Periscope, and we broadcast from there at some events that we go to. Basically, if you just type in Comic Trips on any social network, that's where we'll pop up, whether it's Google+, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope. We were very lucky
across the board
that we were able to get every single social network the same across the board, which has definitely helped. That's
difficult too.
Yeah, that's a big tip for people as well too. Be very tactful with what you use for your social media handles, because people will recognize them or they will just pass them over.
Very good. Last thing, on your website, on all these things, there is a place people can email you easily?
Absolutely, yeah. We have a contact form on our website, or it's just it's comictrips@gmail. And this week we are actually headed to the post office to sign up for a P.O. box, because we're going to try and start like a pen pal club of people who actually write us letters and we send them letters back.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys again so much. I really appreciate it, and we will definitely have a seat open for you in the future.
Awesome. This was fun. Thank you.
Thank you. It was awesome meeting you in Chicago, and I hope we can keep talking and hanging out over Skype.
Well, that's it for this episode of New Media Lab. I had a lot of fun with it. I have a lot of things to think about and explore. Thank you again to Kat and Paul for joining us, and please check out and subscribe to their YouTube channel, Comic Trips. Let's show a little bit of support. If you have questions, if you have comments, please send me an email at southgatemediagroup@gmail.com. And if it's something specifically for them that you'd like to ask, I can forward it on. I'm really hoping in the future to start adding a second show to this feed where we can address questions and maybe have some, we'll call them master classes, where we can really dive into some of the nuts and bolts on these subjects. Thanks again for listening, everybody. We will talk to you next time.